because I thought it was all for show. I thought it was all going to get done right before the season started with the Dallas Cowboys, and I was wrong, and your squad, the Green Bay Packers, made a heck of a move in getting Micah Parsons. I know CC and I are very much on the same page. No issue with trading Micah Parsons. It's just when and for how much was the issue.
Right.
But now there's another whole part of this, and I was dead wrong. I can admit it. Dead wrong. I thought he would be on the Cowboys long term. I thought Jerry was doing this for show. I thought it would be done like today or this week before the game against Philly. I was wrong. I could not have read this situation more incorrectly. There's also a Micah Parsons injury part of it, and this is where I'm a little confused, because one of the most important moments, I think, of all of the months and months and months of drawn-out conversation that we had about Micah Parsons was the moment that CC said, oh, no. They don't have any negotiating power over him while he's under contract. And I remember saying, what do you mean? He said, well, his back could hurt. And they can't prove it doesn't. So they're going to have to pay him the $20+ million. He's going to have money coming to him, whether he plays a game or not this year, that is going to take care of him and his family, for at least a decent amount of time. Not generational wealth.
But $24 million is $24 million.
Set
which
for
is
life
what he
wealth.
would have gotten on the fifth-year option had he stayed in Dallas.
So at that moment, I remember saying, okay, well, this is now going to be different, because in essence, I'm going to say it this way. He could fake an injury without them ever being able to prove it.
Or he could conflate that injury.
Correct. But now, there actually may be an injury. So this is where it's weird. So Parsons was on the practice field with Green Bay, but has a joint sprain in his back. Okay, so he's been dealing with an L4, L5 facet joint sprain in his back, and he may receive an injection before Sunday's game against the Detroit Lions if needed to help him play, sources told Adam Schefter on Monday. Schefter will join us after 8 a.m. Eastern. So this is now a real injury, and is this called, I mean, you've probably experienced things like this. What is this now?
Well, it's a lower back injury. Right? That's what it is, right? When he starts talking about a sprain between L4 and L5, that is the lumbar region of the spine. That is the lower back. I will say this as somebody that has had multiple back surgeries. This is multiple back injuries too. This is going to be something that Micah Parsons has to manage throughout the course of this season. It's not going away, right? I understand that an epidural shot is on the board. As somebody that is taking an epidural shot, I can tell you those things are hit or miss. Everybody's body responds differently to different forms of treatment. I will tell you, when they tried to treat my back injuries with an epidural, it didn't do a damn thing for me.
Oh, wow.
So the question now becomes, what version of Micah Parsons do the Green Bay Packers get? And for a team that has opened up a championship window by making this bold move, by making this trade, that's kind of important to know whether or not this guy can be the best version of himself, the guy that was an absolute game wrecker down there in Dallas. That's who you're expecting to show up for $47 million a year and over $120 million in guarantees. You need that kind of player. And if for whatever reason Micah Parsons can't be that guy, then all of a sudden that is going to stunt whatever potential that this team has for this season. So the Green Bay Packers, again, they opened up a window for the next 2 or 3 years to be able to contend for a championship with all of these young guys on manageable contracts and then having a couple of top-heavy contracts in Micah Parsons and Jordan Love. They've got to find a way to be able to get this done, and they don't have a whole lot of margin for error when you consider who their week one opponent is in the Detroit Lions, who might be the most talented team in the entire conference.
Yeah, not only just week one, but you think about the division as a whole and the struggles the Green Bay Packers had last season versus the NFC North, you don't have room for error. You really don't. And CC, I know that you're not a doctor. I know that every injury is different in different ways, but in your opinion, in a situation like this, is it better to treat it and hope that he can play, or is it more advantageous for the team to maybe have him sit out a little bit, even though you want him to be out there in week one versus the Lions debut at Lambeau? Would it be better for the team long-term to have him take a beat and make sure he's okay?
Smalls, what complicates it is the fact that Micah Parsons hasn't been doing anything football-related throughout the course of the preseason.
Right, yeah.
He hasn't been practicing. So there's the injury that he's managing, but there's also a ramp-up period, too. You have to get acclimated to football movements. There's only so much you can get out of lifting weights and running wind sprints. You have to condition your body to play football. The only way to do that is by playing football.
Sure.
And so I'm a little bit concerned now about how the Packers manage this scenario with Micah Parsons, because you have to be delicate with the back injury because of the nature of the injury, but you also got to get him ready to go out there and deal with the rigors of an 18-week regular season. And so I'm not quite sure what the sweet spot is for Matt LaFleur and defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, but this might be something where they have to put Micah on a pitch count in the early goings of the regular season to not only protect the back injury, but protect against Micah compensating and, injuring something else because he's not ready to play football at the level of intensity that's required in the regular season. So again, this is a tricky situation for the Green Bay Packers, and the expectations could not be higher based on the move and based on the salary that they gave him.
So this is going to come off insulting towards him, and I don't mean to, but I need to understand this. This is a real injury?
Yeah, it's a real injury.
Well, the Cowboys prescribed him prednisone, and he was on a physical therapy program there. And you would think if it wasn't a real injury that he would go to Green Bay and be like, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling spry. Let's go.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
They're not talking about sticking needles in your back if it's not a real injury.
There you go.
The only reason I asked that.
It's a needle that goes into your spine.
Understood. The only reason I'm asking, though. No, here's why.
You're not going to do that for no reason.
Yeah, we ain't faking out here.
You're not voluntarily signing up for that. No
If
chance.
there was any contractual thing that the Cowboys were trying to recoup, saying he faked an injury and that we paid him for the... That's the only reason I asked the question, was if there was a potential grievance thing involved, because you made the suggestion, CeCe, during the course of this offseason, he could still get that 24. He could say the 24 mil. He could say his back is hurting, and they can't prove otherwise. So I didn't know. I'm not accusing Micah Parsons at all of faking, at all. What I'm asking simply is this in relation to anything contractually with the Cowboys?
No.
Okay, so then the follow-up is the Green Bay Packers have to make the Super Bowl this year. Have to, okay? The Philadelphia Eagles are the defending champs. They're playing the Lions week 1. That's a huge game right off the bat. They're playing the Commanders, a game that we will be a part of the festivities, no big deal, in Wisconsin for that.
Let's go.
Is there any thought, if you're Green Bay guys, to say, you know what, let's keep them out?
That's interesting, man, because the way you framed it with their schedule, you're talking about what could be the two best teams in the conference.
That's right.
The Detroit Lions and the Washington Commanders.
They're in the conversation.
Well, I mean, listen.
Well, 3 of the 4
it's not off the board that the Commanders win their division.
Right.
They have the best quarterback from a talent standpoint in the entire conference in Jayden. Like, that's not crazy to think that the Commanders could win the division. The NFC East ain't had a repeat champion in 2 decades.
Yeah.
It's not crazy. All right? And then the Detroit Lions were one of only 3 teams to lose only 3 games last year.
Right.
It was them, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Philadelphia Eagles.
And they were decimated with injuries.
And they had a dozen guys on the defensive side of the ball that were out.
Yeah.
So, again,
So you're saying that you
that's
can't keep
the
them out.
early going for the Green Bay Packers.
You gotta set the
These are
tone.
teams that you have to get through, not just in terms of stacking regular season wins, but these are teams that you're going to have to deal with in the playoffs. These games could go a long ways to determining who has home field advantage when you meet in the postseason.
No doubt about that, and especially coming off a season where your biggest obstacle was that you couldn't beat the teams in your division or the good teams in the NFC as a whole. You want to come out here, especially now that you do have Micah Parsons, and set the tone. Last year was good. We went to the playoffs, double-digit win season, not good enough. We're coming out this season, and we're making a statement that the Green Bay Packers are better, and we are going to the Super Bowl.
What do they have, 6 losses between the Eagles, Vikings, and Lions? That can't happen again this year.
Cannot.
There have been so many angles, so many spins, so many conversations about the Micah Parsons hold out, hold in, and then trade. The conversation that could start is if, God forbid, Micah Parsons is out for any length of time, where the Dallas Cowboys sit back and say, see, told you so, even though they never actually told us that, but that's exactly where they would go.
I mean, Jerry did say that, he could get hit by a car or a bus or whatever it was.
Yeah. Also,
I mean, he did.
Hold on.
He didn't say that.
But also, I know that the Micah Parsons acquisition ramps things up as far as expectations are concerned for the Green Bay Packers. But make no mistake about this. With this young core on the offense and a quarterback that's 26 years old, the Micah Parsons trade opens the window for more than just this season. This is not just this season or bust for the Packers. So you need to be judicious in how you deploy him, because the window is longer than just the 2025 season.
Yeah, but